Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to build a full stack project from the scratch using a powerful tool called Adder. We will be using Next.js for the front end and Supabase for the back end. With the help of Gemini Flash 1.5 model, I will walk you through everything step by step, from installing every tool that we need to run Adder to setting up the environment and show you what is the most important commands to build our app. Whether you are an experienced or a beginner developer, this video will make it easy for you. So let's get started. So what is Adder exactly? Adder is an open source command line tool that allows developer to pair programming with large language model like GPT-4 or Claudia 3.5 or Gemini to edit the code directly in the local Git repo. It provides an efficient way to complete coding tasks by translating our natural language instructions to code that will change inside our files. So what makes Adder different from any other AI coding assistant? Adder can work with an existing code base already. If you have an old code, you can use Adder with it easily. It supports multiple languages like Python, JavaScript, TypeScript, PHP, HTML, and CSS and Sass. It allows multi-file change. Adder can edit multiple files at once for complex requests and make sure they are working together correctly. Let's start installing what we need to get Adder up and running. The first thing that we need to install is a Git. It's a very straightforward installing. You can install it from here. I'm gonna leave links for all the stuff in the description and use the recommended setup for it. Of course, we're going to need Python. Adder is written in Python and we need Python environment to run it. I'm using Python 3.11.9. It's slightly older than the 3.12 version. It have released this year in April 2, and it's stable. It didn't result any errors or any bugs so far, so it's working very good with Adder. And finally, an IDE, anyone that you want, but I really recommend Visual Studio Code because there is a plugin there that work very good with Adder. If you install all the stuff, we are ready to go. After installing Visual Studio Code on your PC, we're gonna just need to install one plugin that will help us a little bit when using Adder command. Go to your extensions and write Adder. The first extension that will show up, that's it. It will have this kind of electronic brain as an icon and about 5,000 installation by the time I'm making this video. What it do is help us a little bit while running two commands that we will use them a lot is the add file name and the drop file name. And I'm going to show you how to use them and other additional important command in Adder. Next step is setting the environment that will run Adder. In any empty folder that you have, open Visual Studio Code and then open the terminal. What we need to create is a simple Python environment to install all the stuff that needed to run Adder. Just write Python-mvenv and the name of the environment. I will name mine Adder AI and hit run. It's have been created. All right, let's activate this environment that we have. To activate the environment that we created, which is the Adder AI in my case, all you have to do is write the name of the folder of the environment, then scripts, folders, which is this one, and then activate. This will automatically activate the environment for you, and it will look like this. The environment name will show up here. Why I'm using environment to run Adder, so we don't get conflict when we run in Adder and installing anything for it. Go to the Adder installation page and copy this command. Pipe install Adder-chat and copy paste it over here in your activated environment and let it download and do its things. But it's already installed before on my machine, so it's very quick, just downloading it from the cache itself. To run Adder for free, we actually not gonna follow the environment setup from Adder itself. We're gonna create our own environment. One of the coolest things about Adder that it can work with almost any large language model. all you have to do is just providing the API key and tell it which model to use. It recommends using GPT-4 or Cloud Sonata 3.5. But we're not gonna follow that. Why? Because money. We will not pay anything to test either and build a project with. We're going to use another cost-effective model called Gemini 1.5 Flash. It's very fast model, very capable for being a free model. We have 15 requests per minute as the free charge plan. If you go over that, you have to start paying money. You can get the Gemini API key for free if you head to the aistudio.google.com/app/API key. Here you can create a new API key or use your already existent one. We're not gonna follow the either way of setting the API keys and selecting the model. We're actually using an env file. It's much better and highly flexible, and we can customize it as much as we want. Go back to your Visual Studio Code and create a new file called .env. Inside .env, we'll put three main environment keys. The first thing is the either model, which is in our case Gemini/Gemini-1.5-Flash. And the second one is the Gemini API key. And the third and the last one is switching from light mode to dark mode. Either will show us the code here in the terminal when we run it, and for some reason the default option for it is false, which means it run on the light mode, which it will make you go blind if you run it long enough. Now we are ready to run either. All you have to do is type in the terminal either. It will ask you create a GitHub repo for you, and hit yes. It will add a new GitHub repo for you automatically, and it will activate this kind of terminal with a green border and few information about the Git, what kind of model it uses, and the repo information, how many files we have. Let's talk about what is the main command that everyone will use when using either. The first thing that you need to know, there is a page that have list of all the command that you want, and it tell you exactly what to do. /add, add files, /ask a question, chat mode, clear board. In our terminal inside the environment that we have, the first thing that you need to do is activating either by typing just either, and it will give it a few seconds and it will start automatically. Here it shows you the first command that you can use, which is help. Help it show you all the list of all the command that you have in case you forgot any one of them. The first one that you need to use when you're gonna use it heavily is /add. /add will add files to our chat that the either will look at. But tip here, don't add too many files. At max, maybe 3 or 5 at maximum, so the either don't get confused. How to add files? All you have to do is /add and type the destination or the path of your file. In my case, I wanted to add the details page of the posts, which I already created. It gives you option and you can scroll through it through tab. Keep pressing tab and it will scroll all the pages and it will change over here. When you reach the one that you want, hit enter, and as you can see, it have been added. But what if you wanted to drop? All I have to do is add /drop, the name of the page path, and hit enter, and it will drop. But you can also drop every page that you want by just typing /drop, and it will drop every files that you have in this chat session. It's very decent, and I used it a lot. One of the most important command that you will need to use actually is undo. Undo, you use it when you find that the code resulted of the instruction that you give it to either or the model that you use is extremely wrong, or it did miss a big chunk of your code. All you have to do is /undo, and when you undo, I mean, like it get me error, it will roll back to the last code that you have. This will save you a ton of time when you use that, because let's assume that, which should happen with me when I'm building this project, I did ask it to create a large amount of code at once, and it did miss a big time that it resulted deleting the original code that it was created. So I had to do undo. If you want to exit either, is simply hit /q or quit. One of the cool command that also make your life a little bit easier when you set up in either is /model. /model will show you all the available named model that you can use inside either. I mean, the list is insane. One of the awesome command that you can also use is /token. /token will show you the amount of token that you have used and how much money will pay for it. I mean, as you can see here, it's 427 system messages to create this simple project, and it cost me $0. Maybe you have a file that you wanted to add to either as a reference, not to edit, but to look at the logic inside it or to connect it to other files if you wanted to. You can do that by using /read command. The /read command acts almost as add, except if the file here will not be edited by either. You can edit it yourself, but you're not gonna be using it inside either. You will look at it just as references. When you activate the reader command, it will give you a list. You can scroll out through it using tab and you can select any file. It will tell you here, added the best of the file to read only files. This is not gonna be. Finally, there is a command that lets you delete all the chat history. All you have to do is / and hit clear. Clear will delete all the chat history that we have for this project. I'm not gonna activate it because I need the chat history if I wanted to continue working on this project. So how to use either actually? All you have to do is add the file that you want to modify, /add my page. I want to add the main page of this project, and it's here, it added. It will give you this kind of title over here, like you are working on this page, and here you type whatever what you want. I want to add, for example, a footer for this page, and when you write page, actually it gives you also a list, but I don't want it, so I'm gonna hit enter. And when you hit enter, it will send out your request to the model that you're using with the code of this page, so it can be edited. And it's done, it will try its best to apply the edit to the blog, to the page or the file. And when it's done, it will add this code that it got from the model to the page that we selected or the file that you put over here inside the add. And when it's done, it will show you that it applied the edit to the page that you selected. In our case, we're going to create a simple personal blog to test the capability of either and what it can do. Here you can write whatever what you want. The first step is deciding what kind of project that you want to build. In my case, I'm building just a simple personal blog. So I ask it, I want to create a personal blog that's full stack project using Next.js and Supabase and Tailwind CSS, and hit run. So it go on creating the basic stuff that we need to set up. It's the first thing, the structure of the personal blog, what we need to install. It's said here we need to install Next.js latest and name the project my personal blog. Then install Supabase, Tailwind, Post CSS, and Auto Prefixer, and initializing to run Tailwind CSS. So let's head for nextjs.org and copy this lovely line at any empty terminal without activating our environment. We will run it. We can name it whatever what we want. Mine will be my blog. Then don't forget to SD inside the folder itself, my blog. And here we're gonna paste the npm install line that we got from the header itself, which is installing Supabase, Tailwind, and Post CSS and Auto Prefixer. Now we can run our project by running npm run dev, and we have our project up and running. All right, right now we can transform this project to an actual blog. So what are next step? In the tips page for either, you will find a tip that says that you think about the file that you want to edit or basically create code for, and create them first and add them to either. So that's what we are going to do next. So I have created a few pages. The first one inside a folder called B, and inside it another folder that take the ID, and it has just a simple empty page.tsx, and another folder that will be controlling the post, and I create one for the list to list all the post, and one for creating the post, and one to edit the post. For our first step, we need to add the main page to create a list of posts that will show us all the posts for this blog. So I'm gonna put the path to the first page, which is this one, inside the app directory inside my blog. Now, as you can see here, it say added the directory of the page, and it gives us this kind of title that right now we inside this page. So I requested to create a list of posts with a good UI to store a static data inside some array and loop over this array to display bunch of posts. Each post have a title, image, description, and some date. And I want to ask it for both dark and light theme and ability to switch between them using Tailwind. So it started to think about what it need to do, and it created, as you can see here, the code for it, a couple of posts inside the array. And here it started to write the logic that we need for each post. Okay, this is the UI it did give me. As you can see, 3 posts with title, description, and date. The images are all of them not working. When I switch the theme from dark to light, nothing happened, but it's a decent start. So let's modify this page and see how it can make it even better. So I asked Ada to change the images, and it resulted in an error. It can be fixed by adding the domain of the images. In my case, I'm using Unsplash, and I did also the wild card in case if it didn't work, and it resulted to give me and it gave me this page. Yeah, it's a light improvement. I also asked it to add a simple border for the post, but as you can see, it's kind of ugly. I mean, there is nothing here that's unique about it. I'm gonna switch the UI, and I'm gonna change the titles and the description and the dates. Maybe add a little bit of icons using React icons. And so far, the dark and the light theme doesn't work at all. Let's start by fixing the UI and then adding the icons and switching the UI. Now the post actually look what I want it to be. It's hover on effect. The title is bold, and it actually turned the post to a link, wrapped it around the ring. And if I click it, it should take me a link. Yeah, post. And it seems very nice right now from where we started. Let's work on the theme. Let's try to make a component that will change the entire theme for the app. Then I asked it to create a component that will switch the entire theme of the website from light theme to the dark theme. And it went out to create a code, and it tell me what this code do. Actually, it'll set the preference in the local storage and get the dark mode from the local storage, and it can toggle the entire theme. And it asked me a permission to create this file inside app components theme switch to tsx. And if I hit enter and went out to the folder, it said actually it's created this file. This is amazing, but it gave me an error. I'm gonna try to fix it. So after a couple of modification I made to the theme itself, I finally managed to make either to create the theme switcher correctly. Right now it's on the light mode, and this is the dark mode. So it's function as it intended, but I wanted to improve it a little bit. Maybe later. I'm not gonna do this with either because it's struggling a little bit with this task. The page is right now completely done for a first step. Let's take a look to what other pages that we're going to create. The second page that I should work on for the front end is the details for the post, basically that display the post content, the image, the date, and any information that the post have. This is gonna be the next page. When I ask either to create a simple post page to show the details, it gave me this ugly page so far, but it need to be improved. I mean, like the image is broken, the entire colors of the background is not correct, the position of it is not centered. So I'm gonna ask it to fix this. All right, I am very happy with the current detail page that I have. It's very simple, but quite beautiful, I will say. It's have this kind of drop shadow, and the image is correct, title is correct, it's perfect. We need to create the page that will add a post, which is just a simple form. So I ask either to create a simple UI for a form, adding post and upload images, and writing text using Tailwind. But as you can see here, I have so many grammar mistakes, but it handled it well. And after a few modification, I got these lovely pages. Very simple, and I love the colors. So I ask either to switch the current box for uploading images to an actual input text array that will take the link for image, and it did that very fast. And I told it to use the same style. One note here that is very important when using either, you have to be highly specific about what you want. And I feel like the more details that you give it, the better the code result will be. And I'm not sure if this is just because I'm using the Flash model from Google or it's a generic thing with all large language models. Maybe I'm gonna create another video using Cloud Sonata, which is the best one, honestly, or GPT-4, building other project with it, like maybe a Flutter app or maybe a e-commerce website. And now for creating the Supabase table, we just need some sort of simple table to store or post, to store all the posts that we will have inside it. Go to the supabase.com and create your new account or enter your dashboard and create a new project. Name it however what you want. I'm gonna call mine blog. Create a password or generate one and select where you want it to be. And now we have all the information for our data here. This is the public key that we can do the crowds with and create tables and all this fun stuff. We're gonna keep it in an env file inside the Next.js project. Create a .env file inside the folder that you have and create new environment called database key or database API key and paste the key over here. And now we have the key stored in our project. Let's go back and create the table for this project. On the left side, you're gonna find the bar that have other option like database, SQL editor, table editor. I want to create a table, so I'm gonna go to the SQL editor. Here you can type whatever what you want for a table. In our case, we're gonna create a table. We're gonna name it post. This is the only table that we have in Supabase right now. A simple table named post. It have ID that auto increment, I have title with a varchar, content and description, and image or text, and finally created add and updated add so we can fetch the data, so we can fetch the date of the creation of this post. And if you want to your table editor, you can find your table here and you can see the columns inside it. I ask it to create a logic using Supabase logic that I used in my blog data database.js with a file I made to store the title, content, and the image link in a table named post. It actually went out and created a client instance of Supabase, and here it created the logic for storing inside a table named post, which is correct, the title, the content, the image, and here it handling error and returning. And here in case of success, it will push us to the main page. In the database JS, which I didn't ask to change anything inside it, it created another function to get all posts. But in the database JS, it made kind of terrible code because you shouldn't store your Supabase key and your Supabase URL hard coded in a file in the code. You should keep it inside an environment file like .env. Here I kinda hit a wall and I had to rely on my own knowledge, not either at all. When you work with Supabase in Next.js and you want not to use any API in the backend or actions, you have to create something called create browser client. It will take Next public environment keys. You store it normally on the environment file that you have, and you call it like this function, and you export this function and any page that you want. For example, in our case, we wanted to create a post. We call this create client as Supabase and we handle the rest normally. Give it what title, description, content, image, and it will create for us the data that we need. But there is one thing that is not showing correctly here. Also, the data will not return if you didn't have select by the end. I have no idea why it's like this in Supabase, but I know that, but Eder didn't do that at all. This is my own code, but he wrote most of the query, the handling errors, success, except me creating the create client for Supabase and doing the insertion for description because I forgot to tell it. So far, Either is a fantastic tool for using it when building user interface and a little bit of backend. So let's see what we can do more with it. Let's fetch the posts from the backend and fetch one post by ID or title. Next step, after creating our first post, I created a simple post here in Supabase and I can see it actually stored over here. It have title, content, and description and an image link, updated ad and created ad working as intended. Our next step should fetching this post and show it in the post detail page. And in the main page, we fetch all the posts. I'm gonna also create a couple of posts just to make it look better than this. So after I ask it to create the logic for fetching all the posts in the back end, it actually went out and did almost what I wanted to. Here I asked it to add logic for fetching all the posts from Supabase using the function I created, and I told it which file to get it from. This is one of the cool stuff that you can add file in your description. And I told it what the function name is. And I told it you have to use it to call the post from Supabase, and the name of the table is posts. It almost did what I exactly wanted to, but did something wrong. Instead of using just a create client, it passed to it the environment variable. And I don't need that already because it shouldn't be passed. It's already there. When I just fix this error, it automatically work like a charm. And as you can see here is our tiny little post down there feeling alone and small. But yeah, that's a good start. Now let's add more posts to see it a little bit better because this is look incredibly dumb. And I also did forget about formatting the created ad. Hey, now after I'm kind of done with what I wanted with the main page, created multiple posts as you can see here. Three simple posts. I made the image. I changed the image itself height to make it as a div, and the image is it's a background of this div. Formatted that created ad, which made by Adar. I tell the Adar to make the div slightly small, about 75% of the width, and center it in the middle of the page, and it did that for me. And right now, the only thing is remaining is to create the details page. When I click on one of these pages, it should take me to the details page of this post. So the first thing that we need to change in the main page, we need to switch the link of the post to not be static anymore. And I ask it to change the link of the post. So when I click it, it should direct us to the URL slash b slash the whatever the post title is and went out. All right, I am done with the detail page. As you can see here, the Supabase is the title. I give it to the URL. It handled the rest for us, showing the details of the post by showing the content, and I told it to format the date as it added this lovely border radius to the image. And here is the title is a bold, it's very, very nice. I mean, like it minimized the amount of coding that I have to write by myself at least to 80% because I had to write some stuff for Supabase and it kept getting the whole create client function completely wrong at every time that I ask it to not pass anything to this function. I can add other stuff using either, of course, like sidebar, navbar, authentication, a login, register, but I'm not gonna do that honestly because the purpose of this video was showing you the setup of Adar and how to use it for free and an actual process of how you can do a project using it. I think this video did well enough in the short time it had. And I didn't want this video to be longer than a half of hour, but I think it already is. So you don't get bored and not learn as much as you can in this video. So I hope that you learn a lot about Either in this video. And please leave a like and subscribe for the channel. I'm trying to up the quality of my videos and teach you more about the new upcoming tools and give you videos about it in more details. So thank you for watching. I hope that you Subscribe and hit the like button for this long video, and see you in the next one.